Hi, this is Mark Kermode. I'm thrilled to be joined by Bill Forsyth, writer and director of the brilliant local hero. Bill,
Hi, Mark.
how you doing?
I'm good. I'm enjoying this movie so far.
Yeah, this great opening shot. Listen, tell us something about the background of where local hero comes from, where the story comes from.
Well, back in the 80s, when I first started to make movies, feature movies, David Putnam was, a power in the land. And we started to talk about, he said, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to make a movie in Scotland? And he came up with this idea. He said, if you can concoct a story that's got two Americans in it in Scotland, he said, I could raise some money from Warner Bros. So it was a no-brainer because in the early 80s, the only thing that was happening in Scotland was the oil business. And there were Americans, there were guys in, Stetson hats in Aberdeen and all of that stuff. My one kind of contribution to the idea was that I didn't want to end up on oil rigs, North Sea stuff, just like this, in fact. Tried to avoid that. So I decided to concentrate on the people, and I knew Scotland really well. I'd made lots of documentaries and sponsored movies around the Highlands and Islands. So I knew these characters, I knew these people, I knew their situations, and I thought, well, let's just throw in the oil business into the situations that are there, and create the story out of that.
Who put together that Knox oil and gas trailer? That's a mix of documentary footage and stuff?
It was all library footage, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now, when we start, obviously it's it's the American setting. Where is that building that we start seeing the?
This is Happer Tower on Happer Boulevard in Houston, Texas.
But and that's where you shot the exteriors. Where is it actually?
This is that we're actually in the building there. It wasn't called Happer Tower, obviously. we called our character Happer. That was Burt Lancaster you saw in the previous shot. And he plays Felix Happer. I like that name because it's like a happy guy, because you've got Felix and you've got Happy.
So Felix the cat.
Yes, so he's Happy Felix.
I love the fact that they're having to whisper so they don't wake him up.
Well, this is funny because this idea only came. We shot this whole scene on full sound. The whispering idea wasn't there.
Oh, okay.
And it just wasn't working. I think part of the reason wasn't working because most of these guys, they were local actors, and I hadn't thought about it enough. I hadn't thought about, and obviously budget-wise, we couldn't go around and cast and and it just wasn't. It wasn't kind of convincing enough. It was too informational. It was coming across as that. And it was actually David Putnam's idea in the editing. He said, well, let make them whisper and take it down. And then it worked because, and the reason that Harper was sleeping was because, and it just doesn't really come across as a kind of element anymore in the movie, is that he's up all night watching the stars.
Yeah.
I think he says that very briefly. He says, sorry guys, I was up all night. But it wasn't really, it was a bit thrown away.
You love this gag, because the gag that they're talking to each other on the phone through glass, that they're completely sort of cut off from each other.
Yes, exactly. Because it establishes Mac in a way that even when he's at home, he prefers to talk on a wire. He doesn't, rather than walk through the door and talk to the guy. Because the whole idea that we were building on was that Mac is a telephone guy. That's his.
He keeps saying that, I'm a telephone guy, or a fax guy, or a.
In a funny way, the world has kind of delivered people like him now, because now we're all wired. We're all electronic.
Okay, so now tell us about the origin of the abusive psychiatrist.
Well, it's not an original idea. It actually came from, I think I saw a documentary in America on TV. It was about a guy, a successful guy. I think he was a plastic surgeon actually.
Yeah. Who
was so successful that he did employ an abuse therapist.
Literally, he employs somebody to come in and be rude to him.
Yes.
So that's a real thing.
It's a real thing. I didn't invent it. I was simply plucking something out of the American zeitgeist at the time. And there's stories coming out of this everywhere. The guy playing the the abuse therapist at the moment. He was an American based in London, and he does it wonderfully. But originally, I had cast an actor from LA called Lyman Ward, who he swore to us that it was all to do with immigration, work status and all that, and green cards, whatever. And he swore that his granny was Scottish, and so he could get into the UK. But just about a month away from shooting, we found out that all the birth records. She was born in Canada but naturalised in America.
Okay.
It turned out that there had been a huge explosion in Halifax Harbour during the war when a munition ship had gone up, and all the birth and death records were all gone. So we couldn't get Lyman Ward into the country.
I just love the thing between him being abusive and then he suddenly says, "You don't really mean that." No, not in the least bit, sir. I love the way he flips between the abuse and the crawling. Yeah. But the crawling is the most important thing.
He did good. He did good.
So,
short notice.
Happer's office, that's a set or it's a real office?
This is a set. Funnily enough, this is in Fort William in Scotland.
Oh, right, okay.
Because we needed some weather cover in Scotland, and also it's cheaper for our crew to... This is America again, we're hopping about.
So when you're in Mac's office, you're in America. When you're upstairs in the thing, you're in Scotland?
You're in Scotland, yeah.
Okay.
And we built Happer's office in an empty whiskey bond warehouse. So we used that as a studio set.
Wow.
This is also in Scotland. Oh, no, wait a minute. No, I tell a lie. This is Houston.
Okay, so the downstairs is in Houston, but the inside, when he's inside, is there.
Yeah. And I stole this. This to me is a little Powell and Pressburger moment, this moment when he goes up the stairs. Oh, he's already up the stairs. I shot him going up the stairs, but we ended up not.
You mean Powell and Pressburger as in Matter of Life and Death?
That, yeah. That's why we had that staircase. But as ever, it's Erich. See the staircase behind there? These big steps.
But no, he's going to. But he is going to go up them. Yeah.
You can tell I haven't seen this movie in a while.
Okay, so that's your Matter of Life and Death Stairway to Heaven moment.
Powell and Pressburger thing.
And I love the way that because the light coming through the glass makes it look slightly heavenly, and
it's hard to believe that all that background stuff is just process shots.
Okay, so now we're in. I remember thinking when I first saw this that I thought that office was so impressive, and now the whole point about it is it just looks completely weird. But I really thought that looks like. That's a successful office. So what was Burt Lancaster like to work with?
He was terrific. I mean, the joke is, up until this point, I had only worked with kids, amateur kids.
Because you'd done Sinking Feeling and you'd done Gregory's Girl.
Yeah. And
Sinking Feeling you did with the youth theatre originally, yeah.
And most of the young people in Gordon Sinclair and Gregory's Girl, they came from the youth theatre too. So basically, he was the first adult that I directed. Yes, sir. But being an actor, they're all children at heart.
And I presume he was not cheap.
I'm still in the dark about that. I know nothing about that. I mean, I've heard everything from $120,000 to
half the budget,
$2 million. Yeah. I really don't. I haven't a clue, and I don't think the people who are, kind of played around with these figures know either.
And later on, there was a series of adverts that kind of used his character in Scotland, and you made those adverts.
I directed them. It was for Foster's beer,
yeah,
and it was irresistible because that was in the days when they still shot commercials on 35mm, and they threw money at you.
Yeah. Well, I heard the story that the budget for the beer adverts was more than the total budget for Local Hero.
It probably was. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about the stars in this shot, Bill.
Well, you can see the stars. They're just blobs. They're just out of focus blobs.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Chris. I'm apologising to Chris.
Chris Ming is the DP.
Yeah. And to me, well, I don't know. This is a practical thing because these were real lights, real points of light in the ceiling of the set. Yeah. So there's no way that they can keep in focus. So in that sense, it's authentic. It's what you would get. But I had, in my little mind's eye, I had this idea that these were going to be pinpoints of light, But by the time we shot it and saw the rushes, it was true.
But it looks fabulous like that. I mean, that's...
Actually, I suppose it does actually in a way.
Because it sort of foreshadows later on the Northern Lights and that whole sort of sense of.
And look how beautifully he's lit the faces, or just exposed the faces.
I mean, it's
wonderful.
There's something really magical about the fact that they've gone up into this completely artificial environment when the thing's gone back, and suddenly it seems really magical.
Mm. No, I take my hat off to Chris. I do.
This, when you can see him in the background, and he asks her, and she says, "No."
She was a publicist that we roped into this.
Is it deliberate that she kind of very slightly resembles Stella?
Totally. I hadn't thought of that before.
But that's just completely accidental.
She was just there because she was...
Okay. Mm-hmm. Right, so his apartment, to which we'll return at the end of the film, that's an actual apartment?
This is, yes, it is. It was in a building in Houston, Texas.
And I love the way this conversation starts like this and then turns into this really embittered argument.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful piece of writing.
It just goes there very quickly. It was just to kind of present him as a guy who, maybe not all his own fault, but he hadn't reached a point where he was comfortable with, the processes of relationships, and maybe it's the way that women were starting to kick off a bit in the 80s too. Maybe guys had it easier. I don't know, when women played more conventional roles.
Oh, you mean so he's still in a previous age? He hasn't yet understood the kind of.
And then these women are kicking back at him all the time. So that was his line. I didn't write that. I wouldn't write a line like that.
Okay, so now he's en route in an age in which that's what the headphones on aeroplanes used to look like. Mm-hmm. I remember seeing that and thinking, wow, such glamorous travel.
But you see, it's building up the motif, all these wired things. He's barely connected with the world without, some kind of electronic device, even then.
Okay. So, this is...
It's Doctor Who there, isn't it?
So did you have any sense at the time that, essentially, because obviously a key supporting player, but was going to become...
No way. I mean, he wasn't even an actor, Peter, then. He was in a band.
He wasn't an actor?
No, he wasn't an actor. He was in a band in Glasgow, and Susie Figgis, our casting person, she had come up and she'd rooted around. The band was called the Dream Boys.
So is this his first acting role?
Absolutely. He had no acting experience.
Bill, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And his partner in the band, they're a pretty remarkable pair. Oh yeah.
This is a controlled environment,
That looks good, doesn't it?
It looks great. Finish that story.
What's the second rate? The late shows in America.
Yeah.
Scottish guy.
The comedian.
No, a Scottish guy from Glasgow.
Yes, and he was a comedian. He became a
comedian. Yes.
Yeah.
He was in the Dream Boys too.
Oh right.
Yeah.
So who said Peter Capaldi's really good? You should get him.
Susie Figgis.
Just on the basis of seeing him in a band.
No, she was a casting agent based in London, but she came to Glasgow to dig up the cast for me.
And Jenny Seagrove, how did that happen?
Susie dug her up, and we had a meeting. I met lots of actresses and things, and there was something of the mermaid in her. Something.
5 degrees in oceanography and a very talented program. I'll get rid of her when she surfaces. She's not in on this Ferness thing yet. Actually, she's better in the field.
There's no such thing as a cheap laugh, Bill.
That makes me laugh. She does look like a mermaid, doesn't she?
Yeah, I mean, I was very surprised when sometime later you said that somebody had pointed out that she's Marina and there's Marina and Stella as the sea and the stars, and you said that hadn't actually occurred to you.
No, it hadn't, no. I called Marina because I had a friend who had an actress called Marina, and she was trying to get her a part in the movie.
Right.
And I didn't give her a part, but I thought, well, I'll stick her name in it.
Now, this is such a great scene when they start describing the blasting. And there's this whole thing in the background about they want to freeze. There's this.
Yeah,
every
freeze, yeah.
But every conversation sort of implies all this. I mean, that's what I love about the writing of it, Bill. There's no conversation that doesn't imply a history of conversations up till this point.
All right, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so each character's got some words that are meaningful to them.
Yeah.
2 years construction. To last 1,000 years.
Where did you shoot this?
This was in southern England. It was at a research tank just north of London. I can't remember the name of the place.
It's such a great scene. He proved it right here. They want to freeze, and then he just says, "No, there's no need to." And that what I love is you suddenly it's like you feel that relationship has gone back. There's years and years of resentment in that they want to freeze.
Two unfulfilled scientists, yeah.
We'll see when I get back, maybe.
And now we're suffering from it.
Dream large.
Dream large.
Well, and now we're suffering from it because nobody did listen.
Nobody did listen.
Okay, so now here we begin the journey into the village itself. And whenever I see these establishing shots, I've driven around Scotland a lot, but I've never found the roads that look so spectacularly off the beaten track.
Yeah.
They're brilliantly chosen. Who was the location scout? I mean, where's that?
You know, I've got a hard job pinning that down. I know that it was within half an hour of Inverness, because that was the last week or so of filming, and we were based in Inverness. So we were just picking these things up.
But it's brilliant because it really gives you the impression that they have driven.
Yeah.
You know, and then the fact that they have to go to sleep and sleep through the night and then wake up, which is the sort of the Brigadoon thing, isn't it? Trudy.
I can't remember if that mist must have been processed. Yeah, no, it must have been.
What, you think the mist was put in afterwards? That looks pretty convincing.
No, it is convincing. Maybe we had smoke bombs or something. I can't remember how we did that.
What, you mole-fogged that entire vista up?
Hmm?
You fogged that entire vista up?
Uh-huh. No, they're not going to get a rabbit into the musical, I'm pretty sure.
We can't drive this.
Yeah, so there is a stage musical of this happening.
Yeah, this is in a year or so's time, yeah.
And you've written the book for it.
You speak languages?
So far, yeah.
And Mark Knopfler has done the songs.
Yep.
Turkish, Russian,
And should we be excited?
Japanese, Dutch,
I think so, yeah. I think so.
Will it be very different?
I've got some.
I hope so.
Some gum.
Maybe because I was involved in it, and I've tried to make it different. I've tried not to tell the same story.
Okay.
But maybe that was wrong of me.
And then we get to the realization that he does languages, and yet the crucial thing about his languages is that he doesn't do his own language. But that is the gag, isn't it? When he says, "Have you got languages?" and he lists all these languages that he speaks, and yet he said that the last sign was in Gaelic. It's not one of my languages. So the joke is that he's as much in a foreign world as Mac is.
Yes, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, yeah, I get it. Photography is amazing. Isn't it?
It looks beautiful. I mean, Chris Menzies has got such a brilliant eye and has done such a fabulous job with it.
Oh, look at that. That was Robert number 6.
Now, okay, Bill, where I have tried to find that road, the road that goes along by where is that?
It's just outside Mallaig. It's on the way between Mallaig and Fort William.
And is it actually as beautifully remote as that, or have you cheated the shot that if you turn it 1 inch to the right, there's a factory?
It's completely remote, but it's just incredibly well framed and means something. Yeah.
That shot for me is so perfect, because then when they drive along the side of the water, you really do get the sense, because now they've gone through a night. They're now in the dream world almost.
Yeah, exactly. I think we used that same shot at the end when the chopper disappears.
going over that piece of water. Yeah. And then immediately this whole thing about, yes, it's an idyllic dream world, but actually it's under the line of these.
Yeah, it's a bombing run.
And is
practice run.
So when you said Brigadoon meets Apocalypse Now, is that partly that?
Yeah, but also partly the intrusion of the Americans, the invasion of the Americans. You know, they're colonising Scotland and assuming they want to, in more dangerous ways, colonise other parts of the world.
And now, as we head into the village, we hear the guitar theme. And this is Pennan.
I remember this shot. There's a little bit of it used later on.
And the dog not moving.
Yeah. I remember in the dub, David and the mixer, they said, we should put a bark on that. And I said, forget it. You know, they wanted the dog bark. What happens in a movie? You see a dog at barks, you know.
And you've got, at the end of the film, we'll talk about this when we get to the end, but there is a shot of the phone box that is actually the beginning of that shot. And you said if you ran the shot a couple of frames further, you'd see the car arriving.
It was that shot, yeah.
Which I actually love because it gives the whole thing a sort of circularity that it's as if they're coming back.
It takes its time, this movie, doesn't it?
No, it's taken almost no time to immerse us in the dream, Bill. It's that's what's so fabulous about it. We've gone from, Houston to here, and now I already feel like we've gone through a night, and and we've woken up and we're in this whole other world.
They're good. I love that querulous kind of look she comes to the window with, like, who are you? What do you want?
And of course, as we know, he already knows exactly who they are, and they know that they're coming.
Yes, yeah.
And the central sort of gag underlying all this is they're not naive villagers at all. They've seen them coming. It's never locked. So, what are your memories of shooting in the village? I mean, that is an interior, isn't it?
This is 150 miles away. Yeah.
Oh, so where's that?
This is in Loch Eilert, which is on the west coast, near the beach.
Because the beach, which is on the village and the beach are way apart.
Yeah, so we had to switch. We had to put some interiors near the beach just for weather cover, and so we moved a certain number of shots. I'm not sure. I think this is probably the west coast as well.
And the whole thing is cheated because the village and the beach, there wasn't a suitable village with the beach next to it that you could use. So you're on one side of the coast and the other side of the coast.
Yeah, they're about 120 miles apart. And halfway through the shoot, we had this caravan. It was one of the Italian movie that we all moved, from one place to the other on a Sunday. I remember one of the first times I showed the movie was to some students at St Andrews University, and I told them. No, one of the students said, is the student of geology, said at the end of the movie, he said, that beach and that village, they're not together because they have different rock strata. They went into it in detail. He says one's granite, one's sandstone. I mean, how did you do that?
And the charging the briefcase, is that something you'd actually heard somebody say?
Well, in those days you could get an electrically locked briefcase, yeah.
So the idea that he literally said, have you got an adapter because I have to charge my briefcase
to unlock it, yeah. See, this is before batteries and things. This is the west coast again. Anytime you see that wood in the thing, it's the west coast. Okay. And that's not that door was built into a corner of a room, so when he's in there, he's just hiding in a little corner. Wonderful photography. I hadn't realised.
Oh, the whole film glows. And then, that gag about him constantly going past, that must be you, right? You must have written that in the script.
Yeah, it's also a motif of Scotland. I mean, anyone who knows a Scottish village will know about the whale of the two-stroke or the Ford Escort in the night, because that's these guys, that's their trying to reach escape velocity. I wrote that in the musical. That kind of wrote a scene to the equivalent of this, and I used that phrase. I said these kids trying to reach escape velocity.
So that's what he's doing. He's spinning around trying to escape.
Just trying.
And the recurrent gag about him being unable to pronounce Urquhart, which he only finally does towards the end of the film.
We're in the way of acquiring some real estate in the area.
and the knocking. So do you remember filming this?
I do, yeah. I think we filmed this in the village. This was just a small room in the village.
And the gag is that he keeps being distracted by the sound of the knocking. And that's very Bill Forsyth, that two people are having... It's like the thing with the whispering, though. That a conversation is going on, but there's something happening to the left of it that's completely putting them off.
And in a funny way, it kind of connects him, because that knocking ends up being a kind of rhythm of their lovemaking as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of drawing him into the privacy of their love as well.
And how... I mean, where did that idea, that the fact that they are so clearly in love, whereas he is so clearly alienated, and the fact that there's this running gag about whenever they have any opportunity, they're together. But it's really sweet and it's really lovely.
Well, it's just something real, I think. I mean, I think there's a certain stage in anyone's life where, that's what happens, and he just happens upon them when it's happening.
I love the dance. I love the little dance that he does. It's just so brilliant.
Yeah. But you can't direct that. You just got to let an actor go for that.
I know you. So was that his idea to stand on the chair and do that?
Oh no,
Great.
No, I said stand on the chair, but
okay.
the riffs are all his. I mean, you couldn't write that and say that or sing that.
Oh, okay. So when he's doing all the I'm going to sell this,
it's just him. It's just letting off. Yeah.
It's just genius. And sorry, is that a planned gag or was that?
Oh no, that was planned.
Okay,
that was right.
Because you love the Marx Brothers, right? Because that is a Marx Brothers
exactly.
gag.
But you've got to do the second one. You don't just get one. You got to get hit twice.
Okay, so now we're 150 miles away.
Yep. No, the dining room scene was just down the road from this.
Oh yeah, okay. So we're 150 miles away from the village, but the dining room scene was here.
Yeah.
Okay, so this beach is.
This is the Lochailert beach. Sorry, Cambus Barham Beach.
And I kept reading for a while news stories about it being sold or about it being, because people wanted to go and visit it, and it was like this is one of the most famous beaches ever as a result of Local Hero.
I don't think that anyone would sell it. I don't think they could sell it. We made that church. That's just a fake church.
Oh, the church isn't there?
No, we made that. In fact, there's a story about someone kind of taking a shortcut home from the pub and kind of walking through the dark and suddenly seeing this church that hadn't been there the day before.
So it's just a facade.
It's a couple of flats, yeah.
But there's entire scenes when they go up to the front of it.
Yeah, it was three-dimensional. Mm-hmm.
But it's just...
Yeah, and the graveyard and all that, that was all just...
And all the church interiors are somewhere else in that case?
They're somewhere else, yeah. That's incredible.
Look at that.
That's sky in the background, I think. But you see, this was the thing. We were shooting at the absolute peak of the long days.
So when's that? June?
June, yeah. Mid to late June. And we could shoot until 10 o'clock at night, and on a good day like that.
And we heard once again a little bit of Mark Knopfler's music there. The music is so much a part of it. It does feel like it's coming out of the landscape. But I was surprised to find that he had started writing, because he came up to do the Cayley scene, is that right?
Yeah.
And then so he was writing while you were actually shooting?
Probably not so much, but he was absorbing stuff, He was very heavily concentrated on the Cayley stuff, but he was there and he was experiencing it as
Did you know him previously?
No, we met just on that movie, yeah.
And who recommended him to you? How did you find him?
Mr. Putnam, the ace producer, yeah. He was the guy. Apparently...
Escape velocity.
apparently Mark's manager at the time, Ed Bricknell, had written to 50 British producers, film producers, saying Mark was interested in working in movies, and David Putnam was the one who replied.
Oh, well, so it happened because he had put the word out that he wanted to do films, and Putnam was the person who got back.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine Local Hero without Mark's score.
No.
And I had a great pleasure a couple of years ago. I did a program for Radio 2, and you and Mark were in the studio together, and he had the guitar and he was playing the themes from it. And I remember really clearly that one of the very first times I met you, we had done an interview in a pub in Glasgow, and I've got a tape of it still, in which I said I love the bit the water in the rocks when the thing goes and I've got a tape of you and me sitting, and all you can hear is our glasses clinking, and you and me going. Okay, so the phone box, which then became the sort of the emblem of Local Hero, that was always there for you because he is the phone guy.
Yeah, it's also a kind of emblematic Scottish thing. I moved about Scotland quite a lot making these documentaries, and the phone box was always a sign of civilization. It was always there. I mean, a village would have a phone box, so it had a kind of its own iconography in the Highlands. You know?
How do you feel about the fact that phone boxes are now disappearing? Because I live in the New Forest, and we have a phone box at the end of our track that's stopped working. There was a kind of fight to save it because people have become now very, very passionately attached to phone boxes.
Yeah. Well, they could be very easily used for kind of used for up to date things. They could rejig them, I'm sure.
But they're part of the British. I mean that's not a cheated shot, is it? That is actually although you put the phone box there, the phone box wasn't actually there, right?
That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there is a phone box in Pelham, but it's not in the right.
It's stuck against the building. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So that phone box you brought along and you put it there. So when people go back to Pelham, they think that the phone box they see.
Yeah, it's about 10 feet out of shot there.
Maritz, you're destroying. Yes. Now we're getting somewhere. I think we can move on.
It's such a great performance. And the point at which he starts to tip over into madness and he becomes the guy who won't take no for an answer it's just done really gently.
Yeah, no, he's really good.
You're talking perversion, not therapy. Go on, get out. Don't come back.
You're talking perversion. And then that.
Before I punch you. This is most gratifying, Mr. Happer. It vindicates my entire theory, the whole program. I've got your ego on the run, Mr. Happer, you piece of shit. I'm sorry.
But again, that's very physical comedy, and I'm reminded again that you've talked about Marx Brothers and you've talked about Charlie Chaplin. It is very, very physical comedy. I know you're a writer and a dialogue writer and everything, but that's written by somebody who grew up watching those kind of slapstick movies.
Yeah, but the thing is, even these actors are referencing these movies. It's just so much in the air that if you give them stuff like that to do, that somehow it's in their consciousness as well that they've seen this, they've seen the Marx Brothers do this or something, and so they, I think it's there. I think it's just access to it.
How many Trudys were there?
I think there was 2. I remember at the end of it, I went to the prop guys the last day when we were all packing up, and because they had promised to me that they were going to be all right and all that. And so I went and I said, how are the rabbits? He says, oh, well, I wish you'd been here half an hour ago. We set them free. And they romped off into the woods.
Oh.
No, they're too small for seagulls. And they're not white.
You get wet.
I'm sure they were just spinning me a yarn.
I'll believe the yarn.
Yes, I did for a long, long while. Oh, look, we got the jet in there too.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Okay, so that's not CG. Those jets are...
That was real. We got them from Lookers. We got 2 Jaguar jets, and we had them for about 10 minutes.
So those were arranged flights. It's not that you did it somewhere where there were...
No, we had walkie-talkies with them, and we told them where to...
That's the one bit of special effects that you see, isn't it? The explosion, that's put on afterwards.
Yes, yeah. That's amazing.
Check out the church.
And okay, so tell us about the construction of the cabin, because that is just such a brilliant piece of design.
Well, once again, Roger, see, that's a fake church.
Okay, so is that, are we looking at a flat front?
No, it's two-dimensional. It's got the
Two sides
the
and a
side,
front.
two sides. Well, maybe one side and a front.
And then all the
This is
interior.
a different place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us about the casting of the Reverend.
Well, it's just a part of Scottish lore, Scottish culture, that there was a very strong connection with Africa. Malawi, I think it was, where most of the Scottish missionaries went, and there were schools and colleges. And when I was growing up, there was a good exchange of African students coming over and all that. So it's just it was real. It wasn't something. It wasn't just a little conceit or anything. It was real.
And he was found by Susie Figgis, or he was a local actor?
No, Chris Asante was he was an actor. He was based in London.
'Cause I don't think I'd seen him before Local Hero.
No, I think he worked in the theatre.
That's such a great moment when he's about to start.
Mother, can you deal with it? Oh, God. Just head them up. Not a sound, please.
He's acting up as well. Everyone's acting up.
I mean, it's genius. It's so well done. And the fact that the first thing he does is he goes, "Oh God," in a church.
What's that? It's where you have lunch, and dinner.
So you've put the graveyard. No, the graveyard must have been.
No, the great. If you looked at it closely, you just see most of the names on the things were all guys in the crew and things.
Okay, and that behind it, that church, that's a prop.
Yep. Yeah,
That's a really good-looking prop.
Yeah.
I'm not a Scotsman either. I'm an African. I came here as a student minister and didn't ever get away.
And this lovely conversation about the planes going overhead. But he finds this way of finding it.
It's comforting, because if they're dropping bombs here, well, that's another bomb. It's not going somewhere else.
Can you remember where that came from?
I just made it up.
It's just such a lovely thought that it's kind of comforting that if they're there, they're not somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and this is whiskey galore, isn't it?
Yes, of course, yeah.
They're practicing. As long as they're bombing the beach, they can't be bombing anywhere else.
So if we look at those gravestones, it's crew members.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So far as your business here is concerned, all I can recommend is that you talk to Mr. Urquhart. He looks like
It's really well done, Bill. Was it expensive, the film?
I understand.
4 million?
Sounds like good
Two, I
advice,
think.
Reverend.
Everything for 2 million.
Yeah, I think that's 2 million.
Conversation
Yeah.
with confidence.
I obviously.
It looks so good.
Yeah, it does. It's a wonder to me. As I said, as you know, I haven't watched it for decades, but
to travel fast.
This is a great gag. So if you think about it, says news travels fast. I mean, that's the thing. All that's real old-fashioned movie humour. I mean, I can see the films that you were watching when you grew up doing that, and then the thing about them all running out behind, because that's a classic kind of Laurel and Hardy gag, isn't it? The two people in the front not noticing everything happening in the back.
Well, I'll tell you the thing. We shot that about 4 or 5 different times. We said, like, okay, supposing the kid notices, right?
Yeah.
And supposing he tells him, and then supposing he doesn't notice. The first one I shot, neither of them saw it.
Okay, so it's just everything going on in the back
And I
end.
thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
And then it was Chris Menges came up and said, "Hey, Bill, what if the kid saw them?" I thought, all right, okay. So we ended up using that.
But it's brilliant because you get that proper old movie, the look, and then the looking away, and then
so
looking back.
You get double value, yeah.
Excuse me, could I have another roll, please? Sir? We saw an old man on the beach today. Who was that? Would that be Ben? Is that a shack?
Ben.
Yes. And he lives there the whole year? Oh, yes. Doesn't it get cold? Oh, he's used to it.
You see, that's the hotel that I want to stay in. If I ever went to Scotland, I want to,
Get some nice big salmon steak for your supper.
Okay, now
My rabbit? Yes.
tell us about the gag about the fact that they are now eating Trudy, which is a cruel gag, but it feels real, right?
Yes, I think it's up to Gordon here. I think Gordon is just kind of, pressurising them in any way that he can think of.
So do you think he's done that to antagonise them?
Deliberately, just to off-balance them, because he knows there's a big deal cooking. And he wants, being the guy who's read all the books about how you business-wise you do this or that, how to remember all these books you used to get in the 80s about how you can make $1 million without trying and all that. So it's entirely his psychology that's at work there.
So he is. I've never read it like that. I'd have just always read it that he just did it, and then when she tells him off, it's because she knows that he wouldn't have thought twice about it.
I think he knows what he's doing.
Okay, so he's doing it to unsettle them.
Yeah. Put it this way: if Gordon had said to me as an actor, if he said, "Do I know what I'm doing?" I would have said, "Yeah."
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Why did you call it Trudy?
And then this is completely weird. What lovely long eyelashes you have, which is just such a strange observation. And then when she starts talking about what it was, just let it simmer for a little bit, and immediately that whole conversation changes.
Well, the seed plants a little seed in Mike's mind. Maybe it kind of switches him on in a way, that doesn't it? But she's interested in him enough to make that comment.
But she's playing him as well.
I think she's just straight. I think she's just straight as a die. I don't think she's teasing or anything.
This is again a sequence that could have come straight out of Sinking Feeling, because it's them all sitting doing the, it's like the one shot.
Yeah, the prep. Yeah.
This is one of my favourite lines in the film. There. And I still use that in everyday conversation. And are there 2 G's in bugger off? Because it's genius.
Did you know what was used? Bob Ottman used it in Bret-a-Porter.
No.
Yeah. Stella. One character says 2 G's in bugger off.
Wow. Did they have to ask your permission, or did they just lift it?
No, I think it was just someone reported it to me. Yeah.
Pret-a-Porter is not a great film, but that's a great line.
So embarrassing, all this.
Embarrassing why? But it's a funny joke. It's like, you can start again now. It's a good joke.
Don't wave your arms so much. I got 6. I got a 10 before.
And so it's starting to work its magic on him. He's starting to loosen up.
Yeah, he's going to get his feet wet soon.
And he's figured out the thing about it. Scientifically, it can't skip more than however many times it
10,
is.
10's the max, or else the planet stops turning.
So, look, I can see the phone box there. Where's the real phone box? Behind that hut?
I think we probably took it away or disguised it or something, yeah, because we didn't want to. But it is there. It's closer to the building.
Okay, but you moved it away and then put it back afterwards?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when we went back to the village all those years later, it looked surprisingly similar. I mean, it still had that charm about it. It still had that completely otherworldly feel to it. And slowly we start to see that this innocence isn't so innocent at all. That actually there's all these things going on just beneath the surface with the gag about
Trying to keep the lobsters in.
whose baby is it?
Yes.
Oh, they catch a plane every night in Ferness. Next day they're being eaten in London or Paris. Oh, they see the world. Don't you eat them? Oh, no, too expensive.
No, they're too expensive. We can't eat them.
You work here as well as the bar? Oh, we all muck in together. Do any job that's needing done, eh?
Those
You
shots.
get one job. Just one.
Have you got just the one job?
How's the telephone box? Is it all right for you? It's fine.
He asked him if he wants it painted a different colour.
Any particular colour you'd like? Red's all right.
It's such beautifully timed comedy, Bill.
Chord could be a little long, though. America, the chords are a bit long. Whose baby?
This shot, that. So what was Peter Capaldi like then, if this was his first film?
Well, I didn't have to teach him how to act. I wouldn't have known how, but he just did everything that was required. He was a natural, I suppose. That's the only way you could put it.
And that the way he does the gangly walk with the hands turned, because of course he doesn't walk anything like that. That's completely a character thing.
Well, it's his character thing. I didn't say stick your hands out like that. So that's his idea of somebody being stealthy.
And now, so the idea with her character is that she kind of is a mermaid, and there is a shot in it that I always thought that you could see. When she goes off into the sea and then it splashes, that you can see a mermaid's tail. But you can't, can you? I'm just imagining it.
She was a very, very good swimmer. So I think she did that, yeah.
Hey, Mr. What's his name from Knox?
And of course, the key thing is that everything that she says does come true. That she does understand what's going on.
She's the voice of the earth, the voice of the place.
Was it always Jenny Seagrove, or were there other people who were possibly up for the role?
I think when I met her, and interviewed her, I think that was it.
And had she done a Scottish accent before?
No, but that was the least important thing. She grew up in the Far East, and so she swam a lot. She was used to the water, and she just has that look. There's something, and especially when she's young here, there's a kind of sheen to her that's.
You said that there is a sort of mermaid quality.
Yeah, it's in the eyes somewhere.
Good people.
And yet, what's brilliant is that she's the one who says, "Oh yeah, the fishermen thought they were mermaids, but they're not." And she's the one who's completely down to it. So all the way through, you're doing this thing about juxtaposing two characters, one of whom should think one thing, another should have, and then you reverse the roles. I mean, that's a recurrent trait of your writing, isn't it?
I think in this one, yeah, certainly, yeah. It's just off balance. It's just characters off balancing each other, really, because the situation seems to warrant that.
Extra normal.
It's normal. Your dandruff as well.
That's such a beautifully delivered line.
She gets in there.
So again, are they all trying to unsettle him, or are they all just being?
I think there's a little edge here building up. Yeah, I think there is. Well, that was my intent anyway.
Months ago, you're here to check it out, right? Don't be coy.
Sure, the marine laboratory.
I know it's only a public relations number.
And yet, that is exactly what's going to happen. So she turns out to be. And so how long did it take? Because obviously she's standing in the sea during this, presumably very cold.
Well, she had the wetsuit thing on.
Yeah, Bill, I've been in the sea in a wetsuit. It's still very cold.
She very rarely complained. She was a real trooper.
Have you got a telephone number or anything?
And then you just look, and then she's gone into the water.
Yeah.
And then later on, we see a thing in which you see her splash, and she's way out. And it reminded me of.
I think when he's following her at the end, yeah. And still at it.
And the song that they're listening to, is that the Rafferty?
Yeah, that's a little bit of Mark's.
Because all that stuff, like the guitar at the beginning when they're listening to the radio, that's all a Mark. I was just surprised to find that, and even when we were in the pub, when think that I was born to be a rambler, I didn't realise that Mark Knopfler had written that as well.
He had, yes, he wrote the whole song for the show.
Okay, right. This is a silent comedy gag. No. I mean, you must have you. This is the trademark Bill Forsyth gag, isn't it? Okay, so we've been to that pub, I think. Where is the pub?
That's on the East Coast, I'm pretty sure.
Do you remember we drove there for the culture show and we did an interview in it?
Yes.
And it actually still did. I mean, I think they moved the bar slightly or something, but it did look pretty similar.
So that's quite close to Banff, is it?
We drove to it. I don't remember how far away it was, but I remember. I mean, it's not in the village. That's what I remember. Yeah, Banff, I think that's where it was.
Nice to see you in here, Mr. MacIntyre. Mr. Urquhart. I want you to try some.
One of the things that happened when we watched it in Pennon was that you felt like you were watching an edited version of it. You said there's a scene missing, and you asked me which version we were using. I said, Bill, it's the only version of the film that exists. And you said, no, there's a scene that's missing. And then you said, I'm remembering the script rather than the film.
Yeah.
When you watch this now,
I'm completely detached. I'm not someone who was there when this was happening. So
really,
that's good. Yeah, that's why I'm enjoying it so much. And I'm enjoying. I'm looking at the detail, because even that time in Pennon, I mean, it was in a little hall, and it was projected. But somehow tonight in this in the theatre, the studio here, there's a lot more clarity to it. Is this the quality of the digital quality that's happening now?
Yeah, I think it's also that you're noticing it, Bill, because it's. I mean, it is so beautifully shot, and this is again, it's a kind of magic hour shot, isn't it? You said that you had that long period at the end of the day when the light is just perfect. I'm still stunned by the fact that church isn't really there.
Yeah.
We have to be talking about millions.
Dollars maybe. And again, when they're having the conversation, when they're not saying the thing that they're negotiating, but they're not negotiating. It's kind of around the edge of the conversation.
Well, this is it, because one thing that I didn't want to do. I didn't want to have a scene where they're sitting around hammering out figures, and itemizing things. I thought that's just going to be boring. So we had to slightly abstract it in this way.
And it's all just that one beautiful shot with him walking away on the beach.
Yeah.
It's so perfectly constructed. So when you were doing these, so you did have long periods at the end of the days when you could get this kind of light, because, I mean, it's...
Yeah, we had it every night, and I think, I don't remember the schedule, but we probably had a week where maybe we started at, say, 3 in the afternoon instead of 8 in the morning, so that we could run into the evening and just,
it's so perfect with the sun setting up in the background. I mean, it's so perfectly done. Okay, so tell us about Ben's cabin.
Well, Ben is the beachcomber, so obviously he's gathered these things together over the years. You see at the top of there, it looks like a piece of a side of a hull of a little dinghy.
Yeah.
The Roger Murray Leach who designed it, he had his head on this. He had the thing about owls. So if there's ever a clear shot of it, you'll see that the cabin has an owl face shape to it.
Okay.
If this just came back a bit, you would see there's 2 eyes there and 2 brows.
So the front of the cabin looks like an owl looking out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember at the time thinking, it's a wee bit precious, but I didn't kind of interfere. But people had an idea like that. That's it, and it paid off, because everyone's creating.
It looks completely organic,
and it doesn't have a door. That's the other thing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you can do business with somebody who doesn't have a door.
Well, if you want to find a comment, all you have.
But it is 3-dimensional. Well, you can go into it.
Yeah, we didn't ever shoot in it, so in that sense, it's just just an outside. It's just a shape. But yeah, the actors could jump over and through the window, but nothing happened in there, because that was the enshrined space. Because whatever happened in there was not going to be divulged.
Yeah. Tell me about Fulton Mackay.
Terrific Scottish actor. But privileged to work with him. In the earlier days, I had used Fulton in a couple of commentaries. I made a film about forestry, made a film about boat building, and he recorded the commentaries for me.
Now that's an effect, right? Those aren't actually shooting.
That's
stars.
right. No, that was. But quite good technology.
Beautifully done. Beautifully done.
Time, yeah.
So when you were writing, Ben, did you have Fulton Mackay in mind?
No, I can't say that. No.
This is so great. I'm desperately attempting to become more marine friendly.
God bless him. What a trooper, eh?
And then he goes back under. Yeah, so sorry, so Philip Mackay, so you didn't write it for him. So was there anybody else who you considered for it? Or was he...
Honestly, can't remember. I can't think of anyone else who might have been in the running.
It's such a perfect piece of casting.
Yeah.
And that gag that every time they come out of the door, that the motorbike goes by. So every single time you had to reset that because it's done on quite long shots that he comes out and then the motorbike goes by. So that can't have been easy to do.
Oh no, it's just a matter of timing. But the interesting thing is, by this stage, Max.
Yeah, exactly.
He's attuned to it now, so he's in the rhythm of it.
Telephone to Mr. Houston.
Mr. Houston.
And that's Gordon Sinclair driving the motorbike there.
Oh, right, okay.
We just got him up for the fun of it.
Sir, they're fine.
So it's always Gordon Sinclair going by on the motorbike.
Yeah.
Seems to be a lot happening in it all
Yeah,
the
he
time.
just come up to hang out.
Last night there was a meteor shower.
Because obviously we see him later on in the Kaylee. But so every time it goes past on the motorbike, that's good. I didn't know that.
They come
Yeah.
down.
What part of the sky?
Don't know exactly, sir, but I'm told that common-wise...
And did you have to research astronomy and stuff to do this? Or did you know any of this stuff
I
anyway?
pretty well knew. I used to watch Parting Moor as a kid, and so I was pretty up on astronomy.
Okay.
I used to have a little kind of telescope when I was a kid. I used to go out into the back garden. And I used to strap 2 hot water bottles, one in front of my chest and one on my back, and bits of string, keep me warm.
And you lie out in the garden and watch the stars.
Yeah.
So when you said that thing about, I mean, people may know, but the character of Felix Happer was used in the documentary about Donald Trump that was made called "You've Been Trump" that Anthony Baxter used, and he was kind of making a comparison between, what happens with Happer and the rise of Trump. And you then wrote a brilliant article for The Guardian saying that if you had written a movie villain as two-dimensional as Trump, nobody would have believed in him. And the point about Happer is he's not two-dimensional.
No, he's he's a complex guy, so he's not a baddie. That's the thing. I suppose that was the one thing. Someone said everyone has their excuses. I forget who. I think it's a French guy that said that. So that's one of the duties I think you have if you do stuff like this, that you have to show everyone's circumstances, to see what's contributing to their point of view.
So how did he get to be this person?
Well, he got to be that guy because he had an overbearing father who, and maybe he was neglected emotionally as a kid. And then he ended up with this fixation with names. Maybe that was based on something practical that happened to him as a kid. But the fact that the company's called Knox
Oil and Gas, yeah.
Why did his old man bought the company? Why did he not change the damn name? And get it over with. You
know that you can now buy Knox Oil and Gas T-shirts.
Can you?
Yeah, I have one. I'll get one for you. They're great. It doesn't say local here, and it just says Knox Oil and Gas. So it's only the people who know. And what about Mac's character? How did Mac become Mac? What led him to be that insular, I'm a phone guy?
Well, I think he was a prototype of the kind, and he's becoming more and more the type. I mean, we're all kind of plugged in and wired up now. He was just an early version of that. A businessman who was at the cutting edge. I mean, he had a briefcase that he needed to charge every night. So he was a pioneer for the kind of world that we've inherited now.
So very symbolically, the watch now comes off, goes on the rock, and later on we'll see it sort of the water going over it. So this is the point at which he's actually properly
sinking. Yeah, he's slipping away from his own reality.
Did you feel that you were in an enchanted space when you were making this?
And I knew that space so well.
Bill, what are they?
They're sea lions.
They're sea lions. Explain why they're looking at sea lions when they should be looking at seals.
Well, mea culpa, but we couldn't get any shots of seals we tried on the main shoot. So the editor, God bless him, he just got a library
Mike
shot.
Bradsell.
Yeah, he got a library shot, and it looked great. But
Mike told me that you didn't know they were sea lions until it was...
totally, yeah. Wait, I thought they were seals.
You thought they were seals?
I couldn't tell the difference.
And she's doing this whole scientific thing about them being
know.
seals and, the thing. And you said it wasn't until after the premiere that somebody
God.
said to you, they're not seals, they're sea lions.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it is that they look so much like sea lions.
I know. Yeah. Well, I couldn't tell the difference.
That would be neither until you pointed it out. And I've seen this film hundreds of times. So it's a library shot of sea lions.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, now tell us about the Russian axis. How did this element of the story come in?
Once again, it's built on reality because when Charlie and I were making our little films for the Highland Board, it was there were these things called factory ships, and mostly in Ullapool. I remember in a pub in Ullapool. And what happened with the factory ships? They were kind of plunderers. They would come in and take the catch off fishing boats.
Right.
And the Russians were big on that. The Russians had their own factory ships where they would process the fish, the catch.
Yeah.
And they would also take fish from, Scottish fishermen would go and give them a load if they wanted a quick kind of cash sale. So it was a phenomenon that happened.
Do you know what they're saying in that argument? Well, how did you...
I said to them, the lady who drove the little boat away.
Yeah.
She was a Russian who worked in the university in Glasgow.
Yeah.
And the next time I saw her was when Tarkovsky was in the Glasgow Film Theatre, and she was interviewing him and worked as his translator.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so that was a nice little connection. But the whole Russian thing, the Russian fleet, the Russian fishing boats in that part of the world was authentic to the time when I was working there. I remember one of the pub in Ullapool when we were saying, what's it like having these Russians coming? Because they used to let them away in bunches of 8 to come and have a drink. What they're like, he says, they're great. They just come in, they just sit in the corner and they don't say a word. It's these Norwegians you got to watch out. They're the ones that cause all the trouble.
And what's the relationship between Victor and her? What's she giving him a hard time about?
She wants to. She doesn't want him to be there alone because she knows what he's like.
Fine.
So she's the missus on the boat.
And that's what she's saying in.
Yeah, she says, "Come on, what you're going to be up to. You're going to, all that stuff." So they're a couple. So you just get to know Victor's ways in that way. I think if you had it translated, that's what it would be.
And is Victor the father of the child that he kisses when he comes onto the?
After 30 years thinking about it, I think yes.
Sorry, does that get asked?
No, it just occurs. It just pretty well occurred to me. Yeah.
Okay.
It certainly wasn't in my thoughts at the time, though. But.
And now we're moving towards this the weird thing with the webbed feet revelation. So, tell us about that.
Well, it was just a little motif to get to just underline the mermaid thing. And I do remember reading around about that time. I read that I didn't even know webbed feet existed.
But it does, yeah.
But I think Nijinsky had webbed feet.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay,
that was the one that I homed in on, and so I said to the makeup people, just said, can you do it? And they did it.
And again, the implication is it's because she's
something.
Yeah,
she's
Selkie
half and half. Yeah. So it just plays into the mythology.
Tell us about Victor.
As a character?
Yeah.
Well, he's from Murmansk, and he's an entrepreneur. We all know what Russians are like now because they've all come out of the closet. But in those days, he was a prototype. He was a prototype of the kind of Russian oligarchs. Now, he would be, a mainstream oligarch.
Okay.
Because he's an entrepreneur back then in 1983.
And how was he cast?
Once again, Susie Figgis in London. We found him in London. He's actually Polish.
So he's doing a Russian accent, but his actual accent is Polish.
Yes.
because he has one of the greatest scenes when he sings "Guess That I Was Born to Be," which I just think is just so brilliant.
Yes, he just embraced that totally.
Okay, and then here, so this is like a forerunner of everything that came later. It's them sorting their finances.
Yeah, it's a Russian guy. He's a cash man.
You should think again about some profit. I'll be pretty liquid once this Knox thing goes through.
And Gordon's talking to him about the value of the dollar and the best way of tying his stuff up. And whereas Mac, who's meant to be the businessman, is upstairs.
He's slipping into fairyland now.
But again, that's the thing, is it's the two characters who, it's the thing that you expect one of them to be doing, the other one's doing, because by now they've started to sort of swatch, to change places.
Yeah.
A base scallop, I would say, actually.
Yeah, this is a razor shell.
How's business now? Do you need any help?
No. Urquhart's got all the powers of attorney. We should have a draft agreement.
So by this point, the deal is done as far as he's concerned? That conversation on the... That was literally all it was. Dollars, maybe.
Yeah. Well, obviously, there's a lot of underground stuff. Yeah. The audience are exposed to that moment of it, but all the other stuff is happening.
But you're sort of deliberately keeping all that stuff out of the way because it's not.
It would be just too nuts and bolty, really. And I think if you showed too much of that, it would be a distraction. It would take people away from the ideas and the emotions of it.
You speak Russian?
Yeah, that's one of mine.
You want my scallop too?
No, thanks. The muscle will do.
Okay. He's the Kaylee then.
But again, the gag that he speaks, of course, he speaks Russian because he speaks every language except for his own language. Okay, so now we're into the game. So that's...
Yes, Gordon, yeah.
There he is. And the ace tones were put together for they weren't actually... Because we had a version of the ace tones played when we went to Penn at that time.
And these are the two guys there, the guy on the
bass.
Right, and the guy on the accordion. They're the two brothers who actually still run the ace tones.
So they are still functioning as a band?
Yeah. They just flew off the name. I think it was Mark's concocted the name.
So Mark came up, the first thing he did was overseeing the doing of the Kaylee and the music for it. Fine.
Yeah, because we had to pre-record that so that we could use it in playback and stuff.
Okay.
See, that's great. The Mistress Fraser, she's just picking up. I didn't go to her director and say, look, like this guy. She just did it because they were all attuned by then.
It's really well done. And then again, the fact that here they are, they're having the discussion over, scones and pies and pints. That this is as much thrashing as gets done. And as yet, we still haven't properly got to know Ben beyond that sort of that one scene. We haven't yet realised. Okay, fine. So here we go. So now Mark Knopfler wrote this song, which I thought it must be an oldie. It's just genius. And of course,
he's miming. Yeah.
He's not singing live?
No, we pre-recorded this.
Wow, I thought they were actually playing it live. There are bands who now perform a version of this song.
Is that right?
Yeah, I've seen a band in a pub doing a version of this song. Even the Lone Star State gets long. It's just perfect. And was that his natural singing voice, or was he told to sing it?
No, that's his version of a drunk Russian singing a song. Yeah, what's up with her? Yeah.
She's a bit.
Yeah, she's away.
With that gesture that he makes. With Mac's terrible Scottish accent, which is almost as terrible as Happer's when he says, "Oh, the old country."
Yeah, sounds Irish, doesn't it?
Yeah. Okay, and tell us about the thing about having a punk in the middle of all of this.
Well, it's the same idea as the kind of motorbike kid. In these little communities, there's always one of everything. You know, in those days anyway, there's one punk, there was one biker, you know, there's one hippie, and there were just lonesome souls because they weren't. There was no one else to connect to.
And it leads up to the gag about because Sinclair says, why are you chasing after him? And she says, because he's different. And the whole point about him is he's completely
conventional.
That scene is so well done. And this when they start dancing. So tell us about these two.
These are. They gave me this little because. We wanted to get a sense of community, so they gave me, I think, 7 or 8 actors who were proper actors, you know, theatrical actors, radio, TV actors, but they had no written parts.
Okay, that's just brilliant.
And I was a bit embarrassed about this, and it was a bit of a challenge for me because everyone thought I was this guy who kind of magicked characters out of the air, you know, and suddenly said, well, Bill, there's your rep company, you know. And of course, by the time you're filming, there's no time for that. You know, you're just getting the shots in, you're getting the cockle shells in the sky and whatever. So after about a fortnight, my little repertory group rebelled, and I got word from. They were down at a hotel just down the road, and they said they're very unhappy because they're not getting. They were promised all these spontaneous, you know, roles, and you're not delivering. So I had to work very hard at the Cayley. I had to go and talk to them and say, well, no, I'll try my bell, get you more involved. And the Cayley was the kind of apotheosis of that.
And that was where that scene came out of.
All of these little character things came out of the need to give these people, these lovely actors, things to do.
But it adds such richness. I mean, it's such. I love this because this is the version of the. It goes into the version of the theme that we know, but it's. It's just. It's so moving.
Yeah. And Mark wrote it all. There was a song called The Dark Island, which was always in my head.
Which is?
It's not this, but it's kind of like it. But Mark wrote this.
But they are playing that. That's not miming. They're playing that, aren't they?
No, they're playing it to playback. They did record it, but then we did playback.
Okay. So with these two, this was part of what you were talking about.
They were part of my rep group, yeah.
No.
Humphrey Bogart.
No. There's just such perfect vignettes. So you were really blessed by their demand to do that, Bill, because the film would have been so much, less rich if it wasn't for those moments.
Well, they just held me to my promise, really.
Good for them.
They were there to do that, and.
And she chases him out.
Let him go.
Okay, and so Ben's stealing the food. Anyone's allowed to have it, but he fills his pockets with it.
Yeah, that'll keep him going for a couple of days down on the beach.
And they're going to start playing a version of Coming Home. And it's like the Cayley version of it. And it's all the more haunting because it's very slightly different. The theme goes down. It goes da 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 dum. So it goes down a tone below. And I think it's one of the most brilliant versions of the song. And I still regret the fact that Even the Lone Star State Gets Lonesome isn't on the soundtrack album.
Really? It's
not.
That's
I did a thing on Radio 2 in which we wanted to play it, and we had to take it straight off the film because it's not on the soundtrack album. Is it in the theatre production?
No. Not as far as I know.
He's different.
Cheer up. You've made everybody very happy. You are a success. Cheer.
So he's now, and this is where it does become very melancholic. He's kind of wondering whether, because he said, it's a whole lot of scenery, and he knows that what he's part of is to destroy that. Although actually that's not how it's going to turn out.
Yeah, I wonder if he's got that deep. I think it's just a kind of emotional thing at the moment. I think
this, Bill, this version of the theme is so brilliant.
Yeah, because it's kind of taking it back to a kind of origin, isn't it?
Yeah. And he goes, da da, the thing. Da, 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 dum. It goes down one extra. It's
very clever of Mark too. I hadn't really plugged into that he's kind of rooting that tune.
It's just brilliantly done, and it makes you think that tune has always been
around,
there,
yeah,
and that it's kind of embedded into the fabric of the village.
Yeah.
And then when she appears there, it's almost like a kind of there's a ethereal presence to her. And beauty, again, another brilliant bit of lighting by Chris Menges.
Michael Powell moment there, eh?
Yeah. You love Powell and Pressburger, right?
I do, yeah. I'm very fond of them. The poets, yeah.
It's a kind of oil thing, a terminal or something.
I don't see that
happening. I don't see that happening at all.
You could put that in black and white, and it could be from one of their movies.
Yeah, it really could. Okay, now this isn't real Northern Lights, right?
No, this is Wally Weaver, who, funnily enough, was Powell and Pressburger's special effects guy. Yeah.
Wow, so there is a proper genetic connection with Powell and Pressburger in this.
Absolutely, yeah. Wally worked in the studios in the 30s and 40s, and we caught him just at the tail end of his career.
Wow.
Yeah.
You said the darndest things,
I don't feel sick. I just feel a wee bit dizzy.
I'll put a bit of colour into your cheek.
And then, you see, the thing about that is because it is predatory and it's a little bit, it's nasty, the fact that he's, that she says, I'm just a bit, and there is an underlying darkness all the way through this, with all the mysticism and everything. There is this underlying grit.
There is the predatory thing, yeah, it's always there. But it's not, it's just a human thing. I mean, it comes out in different ways.
But it's that's why you believe in the village, because it has all those things. It has the light and the dark. It's not just some kind of idealised Brigadoon village.
Well, I think that's what you have to do. You have to kind of round everything off. You have to, because no one's a baddie, no one's a goodie. We're all a mixture of this and that.
Happy here, MacIntyre.
And this when he's describing the colours. So it's green screen behind. So you must have done that in a studio.
No, I think it was a mask. They masked off the neck.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
So you shot the phone box where it was, and then you put that behind.
Yeah, probably just above the horizon line.
Okay.
Give me details.
Sir, I'll give you the colours first, sir. It's white and green and red. Sorry, that's the phone book. Oh!
It's red. Sorry, that's the phone booth. And Gordon brings him another one.
It's the Aurora Borealis. It's beautiful.
You're a lucky man, MacIntyre. I haven't seen the Aurora since '53 in Alaska.
I haven't seen a comet yet, sir. I don't know if I'd spot one and all this other stuff.
You idiot!
I'm amazed that you managed to get this joke in, because it's Happerism.
Well, we didn't spell it properly.
No, but you're pretty close.
Yeah, we're getting closer and closer. This was all in Scotland. We shot that in the Whiskey Bond House in Fort William.
That's great.
And that's it's a projected
backdrop
cell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, not a backlit cell.
Yeah.
Full size cell of the Houston skyline.
This is Wyatt. I'm leaving the office.
And this is the thing, he says, I'm leaving the office, and this is the brilliant thing that when he walks out of the office, because no one's seen him out of the office, no one recognises him as he walks across the street. There's that lovely thing that he has literally lived in this ivory tower.
Yeah,
Shoot to
the street. This is the very first thing we shot before we shot Scotland.
Oh, really?
So this is the first time I met Lancaster. This first shot that we did together.
Pardon me.
Yeah.
That they literally don't recognise him.
Yeah. And I remember we were kind of getting to know you time. He came to me after a couple of rehearsals, and he had talked to the cops, and he said, "Look, just come at me, you know, confront me. I'll make my own way." And he came to me and said, "Bill, I hope you don't mind. I talked to the guys there and I asked them." You know. So he was very, you know, we got off to a good kick there.
Well, Edward, I wonder what the poor people are doing tonight.
And again, this is from these are the additions that you put in as a result of the theatre group, saying we need more stuff.
No, I think I had that. I
Okay.
think, but all these the vignette things that yeah.
I
earlier.
don't feel any different. Well, I hope you'll just lead you back up.
No, you're right. This was
Accept the fact
I did.
Sinking rich.
Sinking rich.
Has anybody ever said that it was going to be easy to be a millionaire?
It's beautifully done. Okay, so now the drunken conversation in which they talk about the thing which has sort of been happening about swapping their lives over.
Yeah.
What do you remember about shooting this scene?
Consider this seriously. Okay?
I think these guys were, but this was pretty late in the shoot.
Okay.
And I think we were kind of lucky for that. I think the Kaylee was quite late in the shoot, and because it all happened after the beach stuff, because we moved the caravan, you know, across country. And I think that was what delivered, because everyone was kind of attuned to things by then. So the words were there, but they had an experience behind the words now.
Yeah. Drunk acting is very hard to do because the tendency is always to overdo it. But don't you think this is really beautifully pitched?
This, to come clean, actually, this was a reshoot because we did it outside.
Where they were sitting outside before with the squeeze box.
Yeah, and Peter was feeling cold that night, and so they were feeding him whiskies, and he just got ape shit drunk in about 10 minutes, and he couldn't speak. So we had to call it a night. And then so we moved indoors. So this was later on on the Banff side.
With everyone sober.
Everyone sober. And he got his act together by then.
But it's so, Danny Baker recently tweeted a thing which said, you know, what's the best drunk scene in movies? And quite a few people replied that
really?
just because of it's just the right level of.
Yeah. Well, they both had practice on that shoot.
And again, so that's you've called that plane in. That's part of the 10 minutes that you had them for.
So we had all that footage, so it really paid off.
What's the insurance lag on a Porsche?
Him staggering in from the night before, having done the impressions. Again, it's that thing about it's the couple in the front and the thing happening in the background. You do love that kind of sight gag.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's kind of page one stuff, though. I mean, but I like it.
Here's my address in Houston, Victor.
And it was great to give Scottish actors a chance to kind of get all that stuff out of their systems, you know, with a movie camera.
It's just, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. When I first saw this, I was so enchanted by it that I really wanted to go and live in that village. And then when I discovered that the village and the beach were miles apart, but then that time that we went there, I remember driving into that village and just being overwhelmed by because the sense of location is so brilliantly evoked. It feels like it's happening in a real place. He's asleep in the phone box.
It's kind of French in a way, almost, isn't it?
What, French cinema? But when you say French cinema, what do you mean?
Well, like this guy there, because he's kind of real and kind of not real.
Okay.
Um,
and the gag that he's taking the call from Houston. So were you thinking of French cinema when you made this? Were you thinking of...
No, it's probably just, I'm just thinking of what the stuff I was kind of watching or had watched then when I was growing up, in the teenage...
From America.
You can imagine that in French. I think that would work in French.
But this is what this comes back to my thing that you're a European filmmaker, and I know that you're a proud European. And we were talking before about Irish passports. You know, you do think of yourself as European, don't you?
Yeah. I would say a kind of movie influences would be very much European.
And was that John Gordon Sinclair on the
was,
bike
yeah.
up with the?
No stand-ins. No stand-ins.
Okay, so now you say the owl thing, yeah.
Can
I
you see it?
that, yeah.
From just slightly left head on. She's got the nose there as well. The prow of the boat.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed that before.
We wanted to talk to you. You know MacIntyre? Mr. MacIntyre. This is Victor Pinochkin.
So sorry, we briefly mentioned Fulton Mackay before. So what was he like as a performer? I mean, such a great performance.
Well, I was kind of in awe of him because he was a serious actor when I was growing up, and he was a kind of professional, and so I had no training, I had no theatrical training or whatever. I hadn't, hung about theatres so I was a bit of a rookie in terms of telling actors what to do. As I say, the two movies I'd made before this, I'd made with kids or young people. So it was a nice experience to find out that they were. That I could do it, because it's one of these things where you think there's a secret to it, but the only secret is wanting something and finding a way to ask them to give it to you.
So how do you do that? I mean, how did you describe the character to him?
I suppose maybe over a drink or something, or a conversation. It wouldn't be me dictating a character. It would be over, a meal or an evening together.
Because when you were working with the youth theatre in Glasgow, I mean, obviously that was a collaborative thing, wasn't it? That was very much a cooperative, that everybody was bringing ideas together. And have you always worked quite cooperatively with actors? You're frowning.
No, I didn't, because the two earlier films I wrote the script line by line. The kids said what they were told to say, and they were happy to do that. And when I was trying to direct, I remember Little Rab, when I was asking him to do something or trying to put him into a performative situation or whatever you call it, and I said what I had to say, and he said, Gordon, can this music be I don't understand what you're saying, Bill, but I know what you mean. So he went away and did it.
So how much are your finished films like? If I read this on the page, how much is it like what you wrote?
Well, probably 95 to 97%.
Okay, so it really is all in the writing.
Yeah. If it has been written, I don't kind of trust it.
Okay.
And maybe that's the only kind of grudge an actor would have against me, is that I'm kind of reluctant to take things on the fly. At the end of the day, just out of politeness, I would shoot it and then probably use it. 8 times out of 10.
6 miles of Hawaii, no problem. Or look here, Australia.
This is such a strange. When he's trying to sell him postcards of other beaches, and again, it's one shot, isn't it? It's a master, and they're doing it all in one. It's kind of it's like a piece of theatre, because you're not cutting shot counter shot reactions.
I think by then everyone was kind of into it. We probably did shoot cutaways, and then think at the end of the day, well, who needs it? Because they're working so hard at it. Why cut away?
Now, I've always wanted to ask you this. Okay, so he picks up the sand, right? Now, this, when he goes...
That was Fulton.
No, but there, when it drops...
That was Fulton.
So the drop was real, and he just put it in there. I saved you a few dollars. That's an ad lib.
No, he'd put that in at rehearsal, and he said, "Do you like that?" I said, "Yeah, keep it." But it was his idea.
Brilliant.
To me at the time, I thought, it's just too over egging, But I just let it
not.
go.
It's like it's so, because when I watch it, it looks to me like an accident that had happened on.
No, he bends his wee pinky and lets it drop. But see, that's now I never look at it and I kind of thank him for it. But at the time, I was just maybe too. as tight to really welcome these things.
But it's such a lovely, you know.
Yeah.
Saved you a few.
Yeah.
They're all just, when she asks if he wants any more, and he says yes, but she's only asking to be polite. And also, he's doing something in this scene that you're always told that you're not allowed to do, is he's actually eating. So if you shot this many times, he will have eaten his own body weight in food.
Yeah, I think he was very, very careful. He was a, you know, consummate actor, so he would know when to eat and when not to eat.
It is brilliant. Sorry, Bill, I understand that this is literally like sitting with somebody who's just telling you that every scene in this film is brilliant. But the thing about it is, and the reason that it's lasted so well, and there we are, that, which, you know, is that there isn't a foot wrong in it.
Well,
I mean, is there anything going on here that's not right? Do you look at it now and see, because you once said to me, you know, you don't like watching your own stuff because you see the mistakes.
well, no, I think maybe this distance is fine. 35 years is a good distance for me to watch this.
And he walks off, his hand up like that. It's kind of regal, or sort of
Yeah,
like...
once again, he's a French guy. I just change the language. Change the phone box.
Let's walk him home.
Let's walk him home.
Could be a Fellini movie, this.
Yeah, or Bicycle Thieves, or Italian neo-realist or something.
Yeah.
It's
Right here. If things were allowed to change. That wouldn't be the first time, would it?
So you said that somebody was walking home from the pub after you'd built the fake church, and they walked into the...
Turned the corner, taking a shortcut across the beach, and then Friday night, 10:30.
And the trade routes opened up again to the east, and so farewell.
See, again, it's long single takes that you're not cutting in, that you're letting them do, you let the actors do the work.
Because they're actually discoursing, so you can't, if you're discoursing, you can't cut in, you know, because it kind of just breaks it. It turns it into information, acting.
But I mean, you know, if this was made now, it would be every reaction would be a cut to the faces.
Yeah, little head nods and things, yeah. But in a funny way, there's a lot of information in this film that has to be nailed.
I've heard of coconut prints. Lord knows for that. What's the most amazing thing you ever found? Impossible to say. See, there's something amazing.
And then there's the gag coming up about the fact when he starts peeling the orange and he looks at it and he realises that it's South African.
Yeah.
Which now, for Bill, for a modern audience who wouldn't understand, what is that joke? Why is he? Oh, it's South African.
Well, in those days, the apartheid, there was a very, very strong reaction against apartheid, and we were.
We had to boycott
African, South African produce. You know, it was still coming in, but you had a choice.
And also the fact that it's washed up, so it's not like anyone's being paid for it. Okay, in this, when it looks like it's going to turn nasty, and now we're going to get the shot of the helicopter coming in, and again, I got you into trouble with this shot.
Maybe they just want to talk.
No, they don't look like they want to talk.
Oh, sure, they just want to talk.
It's the angry mob.
Interesting. I hadn't remembered that shot of them clustering around the church. That's quite an important shot, and I'm glad we did that.
Okay, so what did you want for this?
I just wanted a point of light, and not on the cloud, because it's giving itself away. It's on a cloud there. I wanted it just a point of light that came towards you.
What? So it looked like it was a star?
Yeah, like there almost. Yeah, where it's. But it's impossible. I mean, we had like a 10-minute window to shoot that.
Yeah.
Because this was about 11:15 at night time we shot this, and then the lights it would just go after one take. No, it works. It works fine. It works absolutely fine.
But when we did the culture show piece, you had said to me, you know, that isn't quite what I wanted, and then you said a week later you got a letter from.
Yes, I got a postcard that said, Bill, you should have said," and it was from Chris Menges. He'd watched the show. Of course, me, blabbermouth, kind of complaining 35 years later.
And immediately the fact that he imagines that that's Mac.
This is just an informal visit. But now that I'm here, I think I'd like to organize a presentation.
So Burt Lancaster on the beach, and Hollywood star comes. I mean, he was a huge star, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Did you have to do a lot of protecting him from the press, or?
The press hung about, but they were very, very respectful, because Scottish people, Scottish press, probably more than any, they have a huge kind of respect for Hollywood. It's just part of the zeitgeist. It's part of the so they wouldn't ever be disrespectful to someone like Burt.
This is Gordon Urquhart Hotel.
This stain on his face when he hands over the.
Sticky. I hadn't noticed that before. Old Lancaster. Fuck, South African oranges.
Well done.
That's a fabulous guy. Well done. He's arranged the sky.
I like this place. The air is good, clear.
And so you had to get all of this at exactly the right time. And again, such a brilliant photography job. Just getting,
You're getting the detail on the dark faces, but the detail's still there. And there's that glow that everything, the light is emanating from everything.
So obviously it's all shot in 35. I mean, nowadays people shoot more and more in digital, but I don't think you would have got that kind of that feel from digital, would you?
I don't think so, because in a funny way it's like painting, isn't it, in celluloid? Because there's actually a thing that chemically contains that light, or that that combination of light.
Yeah. It's also the magic of projection, because that idea of light passing through celluloid to create there is something spellbinding about it.
Stars too. In fact, he has a telescope about this big. He knows the sky like the back of his hands.
And suddenly the sky becomes the key to it.
He has this trick he does with sand, sir. So if he offers you anything to do with sand, say yes.
You anything to do with sand? Just say yes.
Up to half a bucket.
He wants to sell me the sand? No, sir. You'll get the drift if he does it.
Well, don't worry about it.
It's really funny. I mean, that's the other thing, but it's so poignant and so moving, but it's consistently funny all the way through. Did you think of it as a comedy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I didn't. I had no idea of where it placed itself in terms of reality. I still don't know. I think it's kind of not real. What is it?
Well, it's hyper.
Is it allegorical? Yeah.
It's just slightly dreamy, and that's why I said when there's the whole thing that they have to stop the car and they fall asleep and then they wake up and they're in this other world and everything about it looks slightly different.
Yeah. But I think I was just leaning and learning and borrowing from the likes of Powell and Pressburger and things that they had done in Scotland before.
Yeah. What did you do with the hut after you'd finished? Did you have to clear it all up?
Yeah, it would just be shipped. Bits.
Could have been left as a landmark, Bill. I mean, I know it couldn't. I know it's a beach and you have to clear it up, but it's. Peter Capaldi just plays the thing about bringing the orders back and what do they want? Well, he wants this, but he doesn't. Now, look, because we're moving towards the final act, tell me the story about what happened in the end of the film, because your original version of the ending was that Mac went back and that was the end of the film.
Yeah.
So what happened?
Well, originally we shot the end scene back in Houston. Funnily enough, we probably shot it before we shot any of this stuff.
Of him in the apartment.
Him in the apartment, and he comes back and he's got a pocket full of shells. And I remember writing in the script, he takes out his Polaroid photographs and pins them to the
fridge,
wall.
yeah.
And in the corrupt Houston air, they probably wouldn't last more than a season or two. Just the images.
Oh right, so that
was it. That was it. And we shot that and we edited that, and that was the end of the movie. that we had when we took the movie to America to preview it. As the movie is, it's not it was problematical because American kind of mainstream audiences, which they previewed it with, it took them a little, they couldn't get into it. But the ending especially stood out as something a bit stark. So
because he goes back, because he awakes from the dream,
and it just dies. Everything dies. So I think it was in Seattle we had the last preview, and we were all going home. The Warner Brothers execs were there. Putnam and I were there. And Putnam came to me that night and he said, "Look, they had already said to me that they would like to reshoot the ending. They were prepared to pay for us to go back to the beach and film the helicopter scene again, with Mac deciding not to go away.
Okay,
staying in.
So literally reshoot. Mac goes back and he walks up to the helicopter and says,
"He said no,
I'm staying."
Yeah, and that would be some kind of ending,
which makes no sense for the story whatsoever.
Yeah, right. So I said to Putnam, I am not going back to that beach ever. Because it was still pretty raw. I was still recovering from the shoot, and so it wasn't just a kind of principle thing. It's just I didn't want to go back and shoot another.
Had it been a tough shoot on the beach?
For me, yeah. As I say, it's only the third movie I'd made, so for me, just holding it all together and things, it felt like a real job. So I said no. I said to Putnam, no, I'm not doing it. So he said, well, you have got, this was about 11 o'clock on a Friday night, he said, we're all going to the airport in the same car, the Warner guys and us. You've got till 11 o'clock tomorrow to find a solution if you're not going to buy their solution. And so at some point in that night, or in the morning, or whenever, I don't know, but by the time we were in the car, I had the thought that we could use that phone call thing.
And the solution to the problem was you take the shot of the phone box,
and Mac connects through the phone. And it was a wonderful thing. It's poetry, and it's great that it came out of necessity and need, and it was solving a problem, and these guys bought it. I don't know. I think I don't know whether they got it or why they bought it. It was a small movie, and so maybe any solution would have satisfied them. But anyway, it got us off the hook.
But it's such a perfect solution, Bill, because I actually think the movie is better
it's
for
10
it.
times better. Yeah, that's what I thought when I had it. I had the idea. I thought, hey, this is a gift. This is a gift from God. This is a better ending.
And that shot that you use of the phone box, it's the beginning of the shot that we talked about before, when he drives into the village, and you said if it had run 1 second more, you would have seen the car coming into shot.
Yeah, because I phoned the cutting room, the next morning before I said, what have we got? And they said, well, we've got enough. It's 10 seconds or something before the car comes in. So I knew we had it. I knew we had the footage.
And it is one of those perfect examples of, necessity is the mother of invention. But if it hadn't happened, if those preview audiences hadn't said, we want the silly thing with him getting in, you wouldn't have come up with that just brilliant, heartbreaking. You just hear it ring. Obviously nobody answers it because it's just a shot of the phone box with the rings put over it.
Yeah. And it's got its own kind of iconic quality. Now they told me long years ago, the people at the hotel told me that there was a kind of a German businessman who had taken the number of the real phone box, and he said, "Look, if you hear that phone ring, don't answer it. It's going to be me, and I don't want to talk to him, and I'm just getting rid of some stress."
I did read a story that phone box did ring, because it's not that phone box, it's the phone box in
the real one.
Yeah, the real one, yeah. But the people did ring it, and because how could you not? And now I also love the fact that the way the music works is you sort of hear the build towards the going home throughout the next sort of few final movements. It builds very, very slowly. And when you listen to it on the soundtrack album, this is like the beginning of the of the final act. Okay, so I love this score, Bill. It's so fabulous. And this thing, that's right. When he's calling out to her, she goes.
Hi, Mr. Mac. Hi. Can I get your autograph, please?
And that's the only moment at which he is the local hero, because all the other suggestion is that the local hero is actually Gordon anyway.
Yeah, or even the old guy.
Yeah, the Ben. So that looks like a mermaid's tail.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it's just her. But I almost thought that you'd actually put a mermaid's tail on her, like Daryl Hannah in Splash.
She was a terrific swimmer.
It's just such a brilliant thing because it does look like a selkie, doesn't it? Over the fake church, and then now we get the shot that I asked you before about that location. We see the helicopter going over the.
It's actually on the road to the beach, so it's we drove that road every day from the hotel.
Is that the yank in that big head? Hi, Peter. That's him away. Bugger it. I meant to say cheerio.
It's very tentative, the thing between Mike and the.
Yeah, it's beautifully
lady.
handled.
I can't imagine the musical it's going to be that subtle.
There.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's just such a brilliant location, Bill.
Well, it's on the main road. Yeah, it's between Fort William and the beach.
And then here, so this was originally.
Yeah.
We ended with all this, and he's now back. Everything feels completely different. He's almost looking at his apartment as if it's not.
Yeah. Well, you know that feeling when you come back from anywhere, and you're coming back and you're putting your old life on again. You're changing out your holiday clothes into your old life.
But that sense of, you were talking before about the character arc and saying if you ever wrote Donald Trump, it would have no character arc. But it's brilliantly done. Everything about the way he stands, the way he holds himself. And what's interesting, you said you probably shot this before the rest of the film.
Yeah, so he was just a little business guy when he shot this. He hadn't experienced.
So he's doing a brilliant job of telegraphing the movie that he hasn't yet made. I mean, I know that movies are made out of sync or out of timeline all the time, but it's.
Yeah. But in a funny way, he is reverting already, isn't he? In a funny way.
What, reverting back to his old self?
Yeah, just the demeanour, and maybe it was good that he didn't have the experience of.
How has he got the photographs if you shot this first?
No, you're absolutely right.
You didn't CGI them in. That's the photographs.
No. That's a conundrum.
And then that alien skyline, which looks like it's out of a science fiction film, or it doesn't look like,
We must have shot some snaps of the cast.
And the way that the music is building and it's coming up to that theme is just, you're getting a hint of it, and you've already heard it before at the Cayley, and you've heard it as the car came in just after that first night. And the fact that it's handheld, so everything looks it's a bit wobbly.
That was one shot.
Here we go. And if you held it any longer, the car would come in.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Wow. Yeah.
It just never fails to work. Bill, it's just.
Well, thanks for making me watch it again.
Well, the pleasure is entirely mine. But I do think that thing about that final shot being there after the fight and it being a solution to a problem is all the more perfect. How do you feel about it now?
It worked for me. I think that's the first time I watched it as a movie, to be quite honest. I've always maybe watched it too self-consciously before.
It's just, yeah. It's lovely, and this music is so. Can you remember the first time you heard this theme?
It must have been in the studio.
You must have been delighted. Did you know when you heard it that the music was brilliant?
Yes.
I used to have the soundtrack album, and I played it to death. I had a vinyl copy. I've still got a vinyl copy of it. And then it came out on CD, and I played the CD. Yeah. You listen to that music, and it puts you right there.
What did it have on the cover of the?
It had a picture of him standing, him sitting, and Peter Capaldi standing with a yellow. No, so yeah, so it's like
on the rocks.
On the rocks, exactly.
I remember now. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah.
And then there was another version you could get, which was a yellow background, but with the picture of him standing, the poster of him standing outside the telephone box with his trousers rolled up. But that was another.
Right, yeah,
the one on the soundtrack album was that.
That was the studio. That was the Warner's poster.
Yeah.
Not that.
Novel published by Penguin Books. There's a novel.
Yeah, what did a novelization?
It's a novelization. Have you ever read it?
No, I haven't. No.
Have you got a copy of it?
I think I've got a box of.
I'd love to. I would. Could I have one? Because I'd love to read what that novelization. Because they write them from the script, right? They write them from the screenplay.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it would read like as a novelization.
Yeah, I hope I've got it. I gave all my stuff to my university a couple of years ago, and now they won't let me even into it. I'll see if I've got any at home.
Bill,
83.
Thank you so much.
Well,
what an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for making me watch it.
Thank you.
I've had fun too. Oh. Thank you.